Tuesday, November the 21st. Lake levels right about 9:15 in the quarter. It's actually come down about 6 or 7 inches since report last week. They've been generating quite a bit of water last 4 or 5 days. And water temperature right about 57 degrees, still hasn't cooled down very much. Before I get into the fishing report, I want to wish everybody a happy Thanksgiving. And I want to mention the Black Friday sale again at Sportsman Factory Outlet. We've got a flyer on our Facebook page, Table Rock Lake Fishing, that has descriptions of all the different sales they've got going on. They've got luge rods and reels, some of them for less, marked down over 50%. And they've also got a deal going that I forgot to mention last week. If you bring in a couple canned good items, and what this is going to is being donated to the Ozark Food Harvest. But anytime you bring in any cans each day, you'll get a 20% discount off of one product, per day. So like if you've got a nice rod or reel that's not on sale that you want to buy, bring in a couple canned goods and you get 20% off that product. Then you can do it again the next day and get 20% off of that product. But all the Strike King product in the store is 25% off. All the Suffix lines, 20% off. Just all kinds of super sales. But you need to go to Table Rock Lake Fishing on our Facebook page, and it'll have a description of everything there. And this is from November 20th to December 2nd. The store hours and everything are on the flyer. As far as the fishing report, the fishing the last couple of days has really been good. I mean, we caught a ton of fish today. I finally got it into my head that they're not real shallow. I'm not catching them every place deep, but when you find them, you find a bunch of them. I mean, we had, probably over 50 fish today. 20, 25 of them were keepers. No big ones, but a lot of keepers. And most everything came on a football jig, a 5/8 and 3/4 ounce football jig, white jig and spoon, and an ice fishing jig. I was throwing a 5/8 ounce ice fishing jig, a 3/4 ounce white spoon, and a 3/4 ounce and a 5/8 ounce pig sticker football jig. The football jigs that seem to be working the best, the colors, anything with green pumpkin or purple, or what he calls crunchy PBJ, which is a PBJ with a lot more purple in it than a regular PBJ. But I think the way they were biting the jig, anything that's brown or green, they'd bite. The key seemed to be keeping the boat in 40 to 45 feet of water. And basically what we were doing was just dragging the bait on gravel points and flats, and we would pick up several fish doing that while we were looking for groups of fish to spoon. And as the water's getting colder, the fish are really starting to group up. Whenever we'd get one hook, the screen would light up. I mean, there was just tons of fish coming up off the bottom. And that's when we'd lay the jig down, pick up a spoon, or the ice fishing jig and just vertical fish, catch as many as we could. It might last 5 minutes, sometimes it lasted 10 minutes. Then we'd go quiet and we'd pick up the jig and just kind of mill around on the points. They seem to be not so much on the points, past the points. We did better on the main lake than we did in any of the creek arms. We also caught 3 or 4 keepers on wiggleworts today. We had pretty good wind. And they were on Main Lake, and they seem to be right on the points going into the creeks and pockets. But still not very many fish shallow. Most everything that we caught today was deep. In the last few trips I've concentrated on just staying out there deep. You can also catch them on a drop shot or a small swim bait. But as good as they're biting the jig, I had a hard time not throwing the jig, and then the same as the spoon and the ice fishing jig. When you get them fired up, you can fish it on heavy line. It gets down there quicker. You don't have to wait for the bait to get down there. So it was really a lot of fun. And that bite, to me, what's going on now is what should have been going on 2 or 3 weeks ago. You know, the water temperature is still 57 degrees. That's about what it is at the beginning of November. So I think we're about 3 or 4 weeks behind, but we're starting to get into a good winter pattern. I'm sure an Alabama rig will work in different places as well. But my best, most consistent bite has been out there deep, and that'll continue to be good. Now, you guys have been sending in a lot of good questions, so I'm going to try to answer a few for you. Let's see, this is from a 64-year-old rookie. He said he's recently moved to Table Rock, trying to learn as much as he can, but he's watching lots of videos from Bassmaster and Bass University, and he's getting excited about the lures and techniques that they're talking about, but they don't seem to work for him here on Table Rock. And what he was referring to was chatterbaits, rattle traps, and prop baits. Well, those baits will work on this lake, you know, like as far as a chatterbait and a rattle trap, but they're not a bait that we throw day in and day out. Well, in the right conditions, you can catch them on a chatterbait. When the water was high this summer, you know, we caught quite a few fish on a chatterbait up around the submerged bushes. To me, a chatterbait works better around grass, which we have no grass on Table Rock. And I kind of feel the same way about a lipless bait or a rattle trap. I have fished with guys that have caught them on a rattle trap when I'm catching them good on a crankbait like a wiggle wart. But I feel that is also a bait that works better in the grass. A rattle trap works good when you're ripping it loose from the grass. And he also noticed that a lot of the other fishing reports, the videos that he watches, none of us ever talk about the chatterbait or the rattle trap very much. That's mainly because we don't use them here that much. So what I would key on here would, you know, try to get yourself familiar with a Ned rig, shaky head, and a jig. You know, the bottom baits really work good on Table Rock, and they'll work 12 months of the year. You just have to fish them different depths. And also you mentioned a prop bait. Now, prop bait to me is just like a whopper plopper. Instead of having a prop on each end of it, it's just got a, you know, basically the tail moves. We will throw them at certain times of the year, but they don't bite it day in and day out. It's kind of like the chatterbait. So thank you for your questions. It was real good questions. Now I've got a guy here. This is from Pete, and he wanted me to go over lake area terminology as far as what is a main lake point, secondary point, bluff ends, and gravel runoffs. He wanted me to show some pictures, and I think the easiest way for me to do this is I've got my graph loaded up, and I'll show you on my Garmin my mapping system. So bear with us for a second while she moves the camera and focuses in on the graph here. Got it? Okay. Now, a bluff end is basically if you follow your contours, where the contours are real tight, like this here, this is your bluff. That's where the main river channel used to be. And you'll see right here the contour lines kind of swing, then they get real tight over here. That'd be an outside channel swing. And your bluff end is going to be out here at the end, this end over here, where the bluff comes up to a point and it kind of flattens out. And it's usually where your channel swings in. This is where the channel's swinging into that bank. It'll be real deep on this side and flatter on this side. Now, gravel roll-off, now you can see out here on the contour lines that where the contour lines are real tight, it's dropping real quick. Where the contour lines are further apart, it's got a more gradual slope. And if you'll notice on my Garmin here, I've got the depth shading I can do with different colors. Now I've got the blue at 10 to 20, the green is 20 to 30, and this purple out here is 30 to 40 feet. So you can see where this purple comes way out. That would be like a gravel flat, and a roll-off would be where it rolls off to the right side or the left side. And this particular one has also got a channel coming right up against it. You can see it right there. Now, as far as a main lake point, basically anything that's on the main lake, which would be right there. That would be what I would call a main lake point. A secondary point is once you start into a creek, anything past that point, like that would be a secondary point. There'd be a secondary point right here, another one right there. You go further back in, there's another secondary point. So basically, anything past the mouth of the creek is considered a secondary point. Now, you can tell if you look at this side versus this side, see, there's no color shading over here because it drops so quick, so fast. So that'll be your straight up and down bluff. That's where the old river channel is. And this would be a big gravel flat because you can see how far it is from the bank out to 40 feet. And like I say, on this unit, I can change these colors and adjust them for whatever depth ranges you want. What it does, if you want to keep the boat in 30 or 40 feet, you can just keep it right on that shaded line. So it's a lot, instead of following a contour line, you can follow the shaded line. So I hope I was able to clarify that a little bit for you. And if you'll take a topographical map, you can see the same things on that as well. So everybody have a great Thanksgiving. Until next week, good luck, good fishing.